another. This is the game between in a World Championship finals between Tigran Petrosian and Boris Spassky. Now, this Tigran Petrosian is anything but tactical player, but you see how well he uses tactics and how we should find these tactics and why Petrosian was playing such a sharp continuations. This is going to be very interesting to follow. Knight f3, knight f6, g3, g6, c4, bishop g7. The regular King's Indian opening, bishop g2, castle by white, knight c6, knight c3, d6, d4, a6. Very well known position of King's Indian defense. d5, knight a5, knight d2, c5, queen c2, e5. Well, we don't want to go into detail discussing this opening, but this position was played multiple times. So b3, so knight g4, e4, f5. Black starts activity in the early stage, before white finished development all their pieces and brought the pieces here. So black played f5, and here of course white does not want to allow f4, and then they will be under the pressure for the rest of the game, under the pressure on the king side. So ef was played, gf, and knight to d1. The purpose of knight to d1 is to go f4 and later knight e3. Well, black could have played bishop b2 first, but knight d1 is one of the possibilities. b5. Now, black plays on both sides of the board. Can this be recommended? I don't think so. f3, e4 was played by Spassky. Well, he didn't want to simply remove the knight because white would have played bishop b2 and later on brought all these pieces. Maybe it was the better choice. e4 was played, attacking the rook on a1, and after e4, bishop b2, e takes f, bishop takes f3, bishop takes b2, queen takes b2, knight e5, bishop e2, and in this position I believe Spassky was behind in the match and he needed to win this game. Let's talk about this position. What white wants to do actually, to go maybe knight e3 and knight g2 and put the knight on f4. So that is a very powerful position for the knight. Also, you have to notice weakness of f5 square. So, and very important detail, knight on a5. Knight on a5 is very lonely on a5, and it does not have any, it cannot be transferred to any good positions in any near future. So in this position, after black, after bishop e2, black played f4, and the idea of f4, of course, white took, and bishop to h3. Now, here, Petrosian is a good positional player. So what he did, obviously f takes e cannot be played because queen g5 and white is getting mated. Even positional players see mate in one. So what happened after bishop h3, white assessed position where the knight on a5 is critical. So white played a knight e3, bishop takes f1, rook takes f1, and now you can see that black is in a lot of trouble. Knight on e5 is hanging and can be taken next move. So knight was moved to g4, and here comes the tactics. That's how positional players are good. He played bishop g4, and you see that black cannot prevent bishop e6, and that should be deadly addition to white's attack, deadly point. So bishop g4, black cannot stop anymore, and what was played, knight takes f4. And this is so important move, bishop e6, that rook takes f4 was played. Now, if Spassky played this for white, we would understand he has a great sense for initiative, but Petrosian, his positional sense is so good that he realizes that this position after rook takes f4, bishop e6 check, and rook f7. Of course, rook f7 has to be played because king f8 will be followed by queen h8 check. So rook f7 was played, and knight e4. You see, now white's piece is completely dominating position, and knight on a5 is very pitiful. So position is totally lost for black, and there is no defense. Queen h4 was played, knight takes d6, queen g5 check, king h1, and here after rook a to a7, there is a combination played by Petrosian. It's not very difficult, it's very cute, but the good top positional players, they don't miss it. The way you see it, rook on f7 is twice pinned. How do you find, you average player, how do you find the combination here? Of course, it's deadly pin, and we should not be in a rush of taking this exchange. If we take it twice, we're gonna have a big advantage because we have very strong pass pawn and material gonna be even. But there is something after bishop takes f7, rook takes f7, something that we saw. For example, I saw these types of combinations when I was just starting to play chess and learning some basics. You see that there may be a fork with this knight. So queen h8 check gives up a queen and picks up a rook and the queen. So after king h8, knight takes f7, king g7, knight takes g5, it's all over. It's all over. So now white has an extra piece. Now, this game was not tactical. This was very well played positionally with imminent tactical solution. Tactical solution will be there, and that's how you find. So Petrosian saw very well the coordination of his minor pieces in this position. He saw very well coordination and queen on diagonal, and of course this tactical shot, I don't know if you can call it tactical, it's very simple tactical shot, and that's what brought this game to the logical conclusion. So tactics are a lot easier to find, combinations are a lot easier to find if you deeply analyze weak points of your opponent and your strength of dynamics of your pieces. So this makes finding combinations very easy. Now, next game, I will show you that combination and tactics came from nowhere. So position was very quiet. The game was played between some top players in the world, between Anatoly Karpov and Veselin Topalov. And this game was played in 1994 in Spain. And d4, knight f6, very quiet development in the game. And you see how out of nowhere there came tactical shot in 2-3 moves all over. How do we find them? d5, e6, knight c3, e takes d, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, bishop e7, e4, castle, bishop e2. That's another move. The main move is bishop c4. There is move bishop f4. Well, bishop e2 was played by Karpov, very conservative continuation. d6, castle, knight c6, c3, bishop e6, queen h5. And after h6, rook d1. Well, this is quite position. White does not have much of an advantage, but they have very easy game. They're going to go bishop f4, maybe double up. This is a plan and for a weakness, but black has a very good chance to play d5. So position is very close to equal. Rook e8, bishop f4, and bishop f8. Knight d2, g6, queen f3, and d5. So black gets rid of its weakness. Queen g3, queen e7, e takes d, bishop takes d5. Now we got symmetrical pawn structure, and after bishop f1, queen f6, knight b3 was played, rook a d8. Position now is equal. Rook d2, white tries to double rooks. Bishop e6, it's still very quiet position. Bishop c7, rook takes d2, knight takes d2. Now knight comes into play also. Bishop f5, knight c4, and rook e4 was played. I don't like this move because this move does not have anything to do with dynamics. Rook on e4 does not stand well. Knight e3, and now bishop c8, because that's not an open file now, and white captures the d file. In this position, I think white is slightly better. Rook e8, see, rook has to go back. Now h3. And there is no clear plan for either side because neither side has really weaknesses. Queen g5 was played by black, queen f3, king g7, bishop f4, queen e7, and now knight d5 was played. White has clear advantage now. White's pieces standing a lot better than black's, and queen right now is in trouble. Queen h4 will be met by g3, and black is in trouble. They have to go queen to h5 and ruin their pawn structure. But Topalov intended, and he did play queen e4. And this, in this seemingly quiet position, there is a tactical shot that ends the game immediately. Well, immediately in several moves. So what did white do here? The shot is, let me see how we find this shot. Rather than show you right away, let's talk about how you see the f6 square. So you immediately start looking, can I take on h6 or take on f7? Well, but it doesn't look like I have too many threats. And also, I want somehow to get my queen on f6, but I cannot make a legal move. And f6 square, oh, wait a minute, but if I go knight f6, I am forking these two, but my knight is not protected. Oh, well, if my knight is not protected, he cannot take my queen because I take the rook first, and then I take the queen. Then he is gonna have to take. But if he takes with the king, then I have discover check. But discover check obviously is not good because queen is gonna take the queen unless it's double check. The double check like this is not gonna do anything because black can simply either go back or maybe even take on g5. But there is bishop e5 check, which blocks this, which disconnects black's rook and the queen, unless king takes the bishop, and king has to take the bishop, has to take it because on any other move black loses the queen. And then unexpectedly white exchanges the queen, and now what happens, they are only two pieces down, only two pieces. Of course it's a lot, it's more like ironical, but white wins here because they give rook check and king must move, king move to f5 and then take the rook and the bishop. So they gave two pieces, they gave one piece back and rook back, so they win exchange, and game here is practically over. So rook takes e8, bishop e6, rook takes f8, bishop takes a2, and after rook c8, Topalov simply resigned here. Well, on the level they play, on the highest level, exchange in this type of positions is a very sufficient material advantage that the other side can resign. Also, in the hands of Karpov, this kind of advantage is obviously decisive. Now, next game I want to show you, it was very, very interesting. Also, I found combination there. It was my game playing against famous Filipino GM Eugene Torre, and I found this combination strictly because I believe in principles of chess. I believe they taught me that if your opponent's pieces stand terribly, you must find a combination. If you don't find a combination, you're not good in tactics. And if you look more and still don't find it, then you should ask for help. And I was very persistent in looking for it, and I found
This is
solution.
Grandmaster Damian Lemos. First of all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to receive more free chess videos from us, you can just click the subscribe button below. I would also highly recommend signing up for my free mail course, the 10 Grandmaster Secrets to Dominate Chess. During this exclusive course from onlinechesslessons.net, I'll share with you my own Grandmaster shortcuts to effective attacking, defending, and growth hacks to improving your chess without complicated books or memorization. So sign up by clicking the sidebar on the right, and I know you won't be disappointed. Once more, this is Damian for onlinechesslessons.net, and I'll see you in my videos. Thank you.